Hello there, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about the signs that Santa Muerte might be trying to get a hold of you. This is based off of conversation with other devotees, and this is based off of my own experiences. Okay? So, assuming that you've already tried to initiate conversation, initiate a relationship through prayers, through meditations, through just simply trying to talk to her, and you start to notice somewhat of a response. Well, you start to notice that your dreams have changed. You're starting to maybe dream of skeletal figures, reapers. You're starting to dream of maybe even ghosts or deceased loved ones. You might just have more interaction with what most would call the paranormal. You start to notice maybe activity around your house. You start to notice that you're starting to feel more. You're starting to have increased intuition. You can just hear things, feel things, sense things more than you could. You see imagery of death or underworld type figures, ghostly or spooky imagery around you. You begin to be more spiritually aware of your surroundings. It's a very hard thing to describe when you've never felt it before, when you've just walked into this without otherwise having experience in these sorts of phenomena. It can seem very overwhelming. But I've noticed a trend with people just getting into this that hadn't had prior experience. You know, they just kind of live their everyday lives, and they never really paid attention to these sorts of things, and they never really had experience with these sorts of things, because and it becomes very scary for them, and it almost makes them want to back away. And that's understandable, because it begins to harp on a certain kind of stereotype of people that are devotees of hers. It begins to, when you're first experiencing this opening up of yourself, it's a shock, and it gets you anxious, and it makes you have more questions, and it makes you very susceptible to more fear-based ideas. It kind of backs you into a corner if you've never had experience in this before, you know. And that seems to be a good percentage of people that are trying to contact her. They feel a connection. They want to establish something, but it's almost kind of like you go through these tests before she finally shows herself. Now this is most cases, not the odd cases where she shows herself first and then the rest happens fluidically. You know, this is for your average Joe who, once again, who's never had experience with these sorts of things. They may have one time seen that one thing that was kind of freaky, but that's about it. And then all of a sudden, whoosh, you're just, overnight you're almost like a medium. Like overnight you're just like this psychic magnet for all of these things that you're just experiencing out of nowhere. Well, that's one sign that she might be trying to get back to you. She might be returning your call. What's happening, in my opinion, is that you're beginning to spiritually open up to receive, to have, you're basically, you're upgrading your software to be able to receive messages from her spiritually. because you might have otherwise had a block. You know, you might have otherwise not been able to receive the way that she can give messages. She can give messages very different ways. One is through dreams, and others through, if you have a hard time having dreams, a lot of us do, you know. Another way she'll try to get a hold of you is through increasing these abilities. And also, if that doesn't work, she'll just kind of pop up right in front of you. You'll start to see decals. You'll start to see skulls or reapers everywhere. You'll start to see possibly Day of the Dead imagery. You'll start to see just skeletal or death-related items in front of you. Oh, it could be clothing, it could be anything. And when you see it, you'll kind of have a aha moment, you know. Ah, that rings a bell, or ah, I feel a connection with that, or ah, oh, you know, that might be her trying to get through to me. Because, you know, we can debate all day long on what is considered a sign and what is not. But at the end of the day, what you consider a sign is actually really what matters, you know, because this is your spiritual experience. And I can't sit here and say, just because you see a t-shirt, there are t-shirts with skulls everywhere, that doesn't mean it's a sign. But if it means something to you, by all means, you know, then it's a sign for you, you know. A lot of people want to discredit signs, and I was like that for a while too, but then I came to the realization of everybody has their own personal experience and their own personal gnosis, their own personal truth. So yeah, if you start to see more of that imagery, then that could be something. And more signs that she might be trying to get back to you is you'll have an overwhelming feeling of, why do I want, I don't know, to go to the graveyard? Why do I want to, because she comes from a Mexican culture, why do I want this particular item from this particular culture? You know, why do I find it appealing now? You know, why do I find, you know, this this item in particular appealing in the sense that I feel like I have to have it, you know? It's just a, you know, it's just a little skull, you know? Like, why do I feel like I have to take it home? That could be her nagging you, saying, I want you to have this in your possession as representative of me. And I want to establish a connection with you, but this was the only thing in your direct vicinity that you could hone in on and focus on and think of me, so I want you to have it, you know? That could be something else, you know? That could be another sign. And like I said, for people that have a hard time having dreams, you'll just maybe all of a sudden just start having these majorly vivid dreams. They don't necessarily have to be of her, you know, but you'll just like, pop, like something a floodgate will open and you'll just begin to experience these dreams like you've never had before, you know. And then it's kind of like once you get programmed to get used to those dreams, used to increased intuition, or you get used to, sometimes you even start to hear things or feel things. Once you start to get used to those, once you've gotten past those little tests, then she can present herself to you possibly in the form that she deems fit to present to you. Okay? So it's a whole plethora of things, and it is this huge ocean of possibilities when she's trying to present herself to you. Every person is going to vary. What seems silly and minuscule to one person is actually mind-blowing and incredible to the next person. But what matters at the end of the day is that you personally feel as if, you know, she's presenting herself to you. like I said, people from the dawn of time, they want this hand coming out of the sky, you know, handing them whatever it is that they're asking for. Sorry, it's not how it works, especially in this age of technology. You know, we have the age of the internet. You know, you could possibly be stumbling upon things that you wouldn't normally stumble upon that are representative of her, you know, and you are going to have to be the one that's deciphering if that's representative of her. You know, you can lay out a list of things that are commonly correlated with her. You know, like obviously if you see a Grim Reaper, if you start to see scythes everywhere, or if you see, I don't know, sometimes even machetes. You see scales, like the weighing scales. You see, I don't know, bones. Some people have even correlated ravens and crows. That's a new one on me, but a lot of people swear by it. Owls. I mean, owls are associated with a lot of different entities, deities, spirits. But that's one of her, you know, prized animals is an owl. And I think on most statues it's a horned owl, but in Mexican culture it's usually a white barn owl. But that's not the ones that you see on the statue. The ones that you see on the statues are the horned owl, the one with the yellow eyes, or a screech owl. But owls, some people have even reported just spiders crawling on them out of nowhere. I know that sounds creepy, but I'm talking, you know, like little harmless spiders. Let's see, what else? You could see a far stretch would maybe be globes. You could see globes, her dominion over the earth. You know, all of the symbology that you usually see on the statues, you know? So when you start to just get this overwhelming increase in psychic ability, or you start to get all these signs around you of death type imagery, or you know, kind of dark Catholic imagery, which most Catholic imagery is dark, that you wouldn't have otherwise seen, that's a good indicator. Those are all good indicators. So let the let the signs commence, you know. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. If y'all have any questions or comments or anything like that, just leave them down below. And if you haven't subscribed, feel free to do so. We'll see you later.